We're going to continue on our study of author's purpose. Remember, there's three reasons why an author generally is going to write an article: to inform, so to teach, to inform, to educate, to persuade, or to argue or convince, and then lastly, to entertain, to make us feel things, to feel happy, feel sad, to enjoy a story. Today's story is called Disturbing the Peace. It was a beautiful spring morning on Lake Powell. Birds chirped and the trees rustled in the chilly morning breeze. Gentle waves moved along the surface of the clear blue water. Emma sat at the dock with her history book in her lap, occasionally looking out at the peaceful lake. Suddenly, running footsteps came from behind and a voice shouted, "Cowabunga!" Before Emma could move an inch, her best friend Martha flew directly over her head. Martha was shrieking with laughter as she dove into the water. The cold water splashed all over Emma and soaked her. As Martha swam back to the dock, Emma was wiping her face. "You said you'd never do that again," Emma declared. Martha raked the hair out of her eyes and shrugged. "I said I wouldn't splash you with the pool, Em. We're at a lake now. And come on, how much studying do you need to do on this trip? You've been reading all morning." Martha splashed the water playfully. "Come on, jump in. The water's great." Emma sighed and closed her book. She would have to learn about pioneers along the Oregon Trail another day. The cool spring air was giving way to the summer sun, and besides, her best friend was just begging to be beaten in a race across the lake. So unlike yesterday, that was a nonfiction story teaching us about some music. Today, we have a realistic fiction story. These characters are not real. It's a made-up story, although it feels like these things are real because nothing crazy out of the ordinary happens, which is why it's realistic fiction. Usually, not always, but usually, realistic fiction or any kind of fiction is meant to entertain us. So we can think that this is probably a story to entertain. Now, whether you felt entertained or not is up to you, but that's the purpose of this article generally. Whereas nonfiction is usually meant to either inform us, like a textbook, or to persuade us, to convince us of something, and then they usually use facts to convince us of whatever point they're trying to make. So let's go through the questions and see if this actually is, first of all, a realistic fiction piece, and if it's supposed to entertain us. Number one was the author's main purpose in writing. Well, there we go. To persuade people to read history books, to tell a realistic story about friends, to demonstrate how to swim in a lake, to inform people about Lake Powell. Well, we have the words inform, which is informative. Demonstrate is also informative, which is to kind of show how to do something. Persuade is to convince, persuasion. And then to tell is, well, it's kind of up to what you think, but a realistic story. To tell is usually to entertain. B would be your answer. They are telling a realistic story, realistic fiction. Being able to identify the genre helps you answer this question. Number two, why does the author describe the setting in the first paragraph? A, to create a peaceful mood. B, to show the main character's problems. C, to establish a mystery. Or D, to encourage readers to like Emma. Let's go back. It was a beautiful spring morning on Lake Powell. Birds chirped and the trees rustled in the chilly morning breeze. Gentle waves moved. Words like beautiful spring morning, gentle breeze. You can kind of imagine birds chirping, trees rustling in the chilly morning, clear blue water. It's a beautiful day. It's a very calming feeling. You kind of almost imagine being out in nature like that, which is why they're trying to set a nice peaceful mood. Because then Emma's friend Martha jumps in and interrupts that peaceful mood. It's to show a contrast between what Emma's feeling, sitting there reading, versus what Martha's doing, being kind of crazy. Number three, what does the author want you to think about Martha? So remember, they're contrasting Emma and Martha. They want you to think that Martha, the kind of crazy friend, is that she is careful and considerate. Well, not really, because she's interrupting Emma and kind of demands that she stop studying. B, that she is nicer than Emma. I don't think they're trying to play up whether one's nicer than the other. Maybe Martha's being a little rude, but we'll leave that one. That may be an option. C, that she is more playful than Emma. That's fairly likely because she wants to be doing fun things while Emma's studying. That she is angry and bored. Well, she's not angry or bored. She doesn't lash out. She just wants her friend to play with her. So between the two, B and C, C is definitely the best answer. That she's more playful. It's not so much that she's nice, she's more playful. Number four, the purpose of the last paragraph is to show that Emma will join Martha in the lake, will continue reading her book, is annoyed with Martha splashing, does not like to swim. Well, first of all, it says Emma sighed and closed her book. She would have to learn about pioneers along the Oregon Trail another day. The cool spring air was giving way to summer sun, and besides, her best friend was just begging to be beaten in a race across the lake. Well, Martha's probably going to join her in the lake. That's a possible option. She's probably not going to continue her book. She closed the book. She doesn't seem annoyed. Maybe she is, but the hints in the last paragraph don't lead us to really believe she's annoyed. But that's a possibility. We'll keep that aside. Does not like to swim. Well, that one's not true because she thinks she can beat her friend in a race across the lake. So it's between A and C. And if she's about to jump in that lake and beat her in a race, she's being competitive. Now Emma's being playful. She's going to join Martha in the lake. That's the best option is A. Strategy practice. Write about a time when someone disturbed a peaceful moment that you were enjoying. Now, if you have younger brothers and sisters or even older brothers and sisters, you may have had a time where you were just hanging out in your room or doing something quietly, and all of a sudden your brother or sister jumps in and starts annoying you. As a parent, that happens with my daughter, Adria, all the time. But I'm glad she does that, but sometimes I just need some peace and quiet, and here comes Adria just bouncing in. I think we've all had a time where we can relate to that. This helps us create those connections that are really important to relating to the story. So think about a time where you were interrupted when you wanted to be peaceful, and write me a few sentences about it. And that's it.